Boogie like Benson, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Long as I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. Sports coma, yeah, this is where we do that. Where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that. Boogie like Benson, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Sports coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Somebody please better help. Running this thing like elf. I thank God every day I'm not a felt. Go to YouTube Live with Big Q and the guys. If you ain't ride or die, the bandwagon get flipped. Been marching in, that was way for the ring. I was yelling out your shade for the championship. Bucking on town, duck down. Falcons, pluck, get shut down. Panthers ain't much touchdown. The vision really belong to us now. So much hate on the Saints, you could probably tell. Ever since Bounty Gate hit the NFL, when things seem fishy and you probably smell the crooked referees or Roger Goodell. Yeah, probably like this and I'm a who that. Every day I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. It's the sports coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that. Boogie like this and I'm a who that. It's the sports coma, this is where we do that. You're
listening to the sports coma with Big Q and the guys on the PRO Media Network.
All right. Shout out to the fam. Appreciate y'all for being in this episode of the show. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We're now rocking with the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys, where we have intense, entertaining, educating, and enlightening sport talk from your favorite sports fam. Shout out to you guys. Appreciate y'all for being in the stream. Much love. Y'all hit that like button, hitting the subscribe button, and also feel free to share the show on your social media feed. Much love to the fam. Happy New Year's Eve to the fam, man. And hope you guys are got your New Year's resolutions all lined up, man, and be about your business, taking care of business, improving in the new year, man, and doing things in the proper way. So shout out to that, and shout out to you guys on that. Also, big ups to FanDuel, a new sports coma sponsor. Big ups to them, fam. As you know, the Saints are, I think they're a +3 favorite in the matchup on Sunday at 12 o'clock. Kickoff time in the Mercedes-Benz Dome. So yeah, man, check them out. FanDuel, man, get on that, man, and then get your bets in, man, and get some money off of these fail kinds, as brother Jerry calls them, man. All right, so big ups to the fam. Appreciate y'all for being in the stream, man. Let's be about the business, man, the preview in this matchup, because this is the thing that we're dealing with in this matchup, right? We understand and know that this is the final regular season game, man. This is the final regular season game of the 25-26 football year. After this Sunday, there are no more Saints football games. Our journey has come to a stop with the season. Of course, the offseason begins the re-signing of players, Alontae Taylor, Chris Olave, who's having a huge year, so he expects a huge payday. At first, we were thinking, hey, man, it's not going to be on a level of Wilson from the Jets. But, hey, man, you should have signed him about a month or two ago, Mickey Loomis. For whatever reason, you didn't get the deal done. It could have been on Chris Olave's sign to kind of push the deal off so he can get broke off nice and lovely. But they've been negotiating the contract between Olave and the Saints for the last couple of months. We haven't heard anything from it, but perhaps at the end of the year, we will. So in terms of that, two high-profile players, the Saints are looking to re-sign Chris Olave and Alontae Taylor. Those are big. So, and then, of course, there are other guys that I think should get cheaper re-sign deals that earn the right to be back. Luke Fortner, the guy that we drafted, I mean, not drafted, but the guy that the Jaguars picked up and we traded Bing Saunders for. We got the best of that trade. Luke Fortner come in here. And Luke Fortner has played extremely well for the Saints since he's been the starting center because McCoy keeps getting hurt. But he deserves a contract to come back for another additional year. He was very solid at the position. And to be truthful with you, the makeshift offensive line with the three backup guys in it has done a better job running the football than we've seen the starters earlier in the first month or so of the year when they were healthy. We didn't have a consistent running attack. It was just pathetic. But this, you can see that things have synced since then. A lot of players are playing better. And Luke Fortner deserves a contract. Chris Rump II deserves a contract. Stallbird deserves a contract. If you're talking like other players like Q, okay, that's some of the other guys. But what about guys like Demario Davis, Taysom Hill, Cam Jordan? Do they deserve contracts as well? Out of all those players, Cam was the only one that said that he wanted to come back, that he wouldn't be mad coming back. If he doesn't, Cam Jordan will go right to the NFL Network. He already got a job lined up. I guarantee he'll be on NFL Network. He has done numerous appearances on there. He fits in well with that bright-eyed, bushy-tail excitement and energy. He'll chill with the fam for a little bit, then go hit the NFL Network. But outside of that, Cam right now is doing a wonderful job in terms of what he has from a sack perspective. And you can't kick against that, man. But, him balling out like this. But I'm not a nearsighted person, right? I'm not nearsighted. And what I mean by that is when you look at Cam, let's put Cam on the screen so we can look at his number. 9.5 sacks on the year by Cam Jordan is phenomenal. Let's not get it twisted. That is a phenomenal tally. 29 tackles, 9.5. That's tied 14th in the NFL. He has a couple of forced fumbles to go along with that thing. And let's not be shy or coy about it. He has an opportunity to add at least another sack to this against Kirk Cousins, who can't move. So it could be another multi-sack game for the Saints defense. Cam could very well get another one. I think he will get another one and be 10.5 sacks. But the bottom line is we haven't seen this type of tally from Cam Jordan in 4 years. If you span out the thing, like if you look at his 9.5 sacks in 2025, the last time he did that was in 2022. He had 8.5 sacks in 16 games. Prior to that, it was 12.5, 7.5, 15. That's when he was really in his bag. But to be this old, to be 80 years old, just kidding, Cam. To be old, to be with his Cam is 36 years old and have 9.5 sacks, which is the most sacks he's had in 4 seasons, is a respectful thing. Now, the Saints bring Cam Jordan back at the right price? I mean, they still owe a number of deals, a lot of dead money on Cam's contract. I can't, and Mickey Loomis, if Cam wants to come back at a cheaper rate, not at the rate that he's been coming back at, if he wants to come back a little cheaper, then I would imagine the Saints would definitely be a team that would definitely entertain that. They're a nostalgic team. I think they would entertain that. But this is the discussion that we see. At what point do you then pivot and move into the future? This is the point. And we've known the Saints put their foot down. They got something good going into the future with this quarterback, the offense, and pieces around them. They found a guy they can move the team forward with. Why not focus on that, right? And people are like, you bring him back. My nostalgic family members want to bring him back. He had 9.5 sacks. Like I said, first time he did that in 4 years. So in 3 years or whatever. But it's the reality is, man, I want to move the team into the future. If they elect to sign him out, I won't bat an eye. I say, okay, well, whatever. That's cool. But if anybody can get that option to say, man, listen, it's Cam Jordan. I mean, if anybody gets the chance to say, man, you can bring us back, it would be Cam Jordan. So anyway, these are some of the players that we'll see, and this is one of the main players that'll be guys that'll be factoring in stopping the Atlanta Falcons this upcoming season. But like I said, a few of the guys that we talked about on the team that, that earn contracts, new contracts outside of the big money talent. We talk about Chris Olave or Alontae Taylor or Cam Jordan. You can make mention of shout out to Demario Davis. Demario Davis has 137 tackles right now, is the most that he's ever had at any season in his entire career. He has 137. He has an opportunity to add at least 6 more on top of that to Pierce 140 plus tackles. He'd never done that before. But to do that at his age, both him and Cam Jordan's age, is phenomenal because a lot of times older players tend to fall off, not so much as the quarterback position. You stand up there and this type of stuff. But when you're working in the trenches or playing a real physical position like linebacker or defensive end, fighting in the edges, and you're able to, perform like that, man, that's just phenomenal. But at some point, as a team, you still want to be able to move this thing into the future and find more talent. And the Saints will be picking inside the top 10. So you have opportunities to pick up talented players to then be about the process of recreating or moving or having other players there to move forward. I just recently did a mock draft. Shout out to our Patreon members and our YouTube membership family. The first mock that I did of the season is available to our Patreon and YouTube membership family. By the way, family, we got the new episodes of On Cue with Big Q that will be available as well coming up tomorrow. So we'll have the On Cue with Big Q series covering Keefe D, the guy that was in the car that allegedly shot Tupac and all this kind of stuff. His trial is coming up next year, at this upcoming year in the next few months or so. So we'll look into that case as well as a few other things that we'll talk about on Q with Big Q. That'll be available strictly for our Patreon membership family. So we're going to be about the business of doing those every week, man. So y'all check those out and show Patreon. For our YouTube family, cross over to Patreon. That'd be a reason to be there. Plus, also, we have other reports that we share, documentaries and other things as well in the collection. Anyway, let's keep it moving to grooming. So outside of that, we talk about guys that deserve more contracts. How about Audric Estime? Audric Estime had a phenomenal game. He was on a 1-year deal. Do Audric Estime, to you guys, deserve the opportunity to get another look-see? I mean, we were a team that was embattled by injuries that tore up the running back room. Audric Estime was a guy we brought on, and he was the 4th-string running back. Evan Hall was the 5th-string running back, and the Saints was able to create a running attack to stay balanced against the Titans. So it's quite a few things going on there. But like I said, man, it was a phenomenal situation regardless of how you slice it, man. With good play from some of these players, man. So a couple of them. And then, of course, as we get close to the end of the season, we'll kind of go over a laundry list. We actually did this on the special, the mock draft special. We went into the numbers. We went to who's free, who's not, who should come back. And then we factored all that in when it was time to then begin the process of drafting players. We factored all that. It was pretty cool in that first mock draft, man. So if you hadn't had an opportunity to check that thing out, by all means, feel free to check it out. Remember, on FanDuel, man, listen, +3 the Saints are in this matchup according to this, man, and we're going to keep it moving. So y'all might make some more money off these blasted Falcons before the Saints blast the Falcons, if you know what I mean. All right, anyway, man, let's get into the breakdown. Y'all hit the like button as we get moving and grooving on this New Year's Eve edition of the Sports Coma. Shout out to you guys. And here it is, the Saints at 6-10 versus the 79 Falcons. Now, of course, a lot of these numbers for the Saints are different because of the last 8 games that Tyler Shuckers, he's starting his 9th game. He's 5-3 as a rookie starter with the Saints, which is special. That never happened before. We covered the statistics and the breakdown on the previous stream. Y'all check that out. If you didn't have an opportunity to watch the new show called Tyler Shuckers Special, check that one out. And it'll break down the statistics, the stats. We play Louis Riddick. I said Gates. Louis Riddick's breakdown that was 8 months ago, what he said about Tyler Shuck, and it rang true. But man, it's going to be awesome. But anyway, you see the Falcon side of things, 21 points a game, 24 ranked. They give up 24 a game. That's 20th rank. Their offense is 341 yards per game, 13th. The passing attack is 210.3, which is 19th. They get it on the ground. Bijan Robinson, Tyler Algieri, these are the guys that they play through. They average over 130.6 yards per game. That's top 5 in the NFL. The defense has played much better. Total defense. They are not really good at stopping the run. They've been doing a better job as of recently. 127.4 is what they've done on the season, which is 26 in the NFL. But the passing attack has elevated. You see guys like Xavier Watts and others have really played solidly in the special teams. Xavier Watts is very special. That was a guy I picked over Jonas Sanker, but I'm not mad at the Saints at all. I knew Xavier Watts is a guy that get picks. He did it at Notre Dame. He's doing it for the Falcons. So they made a good move there. You can see all the other stuff they got going on. The punt return average is 27th with 7. They're not really good at that. They're dead last in kickoff return. In terms of that, the turnover margin, they're +8, which is 8th in the NFL. So let's not get away from the fact that the Atlanta Falcons do turn you over. They're +4 right now, which is tied 8th in the entire NFL. The Saints are -3, which is 21st, tied for 21st in the NFL. Time of possession slightly advantage on the stats to the Falcons. You see the touchdowns 36-29. Both teams are very highly penalized. The Saints in the final game of the season, 112 penalties versus 888 yards right there for us. And you can see the Falcons 103, giving up 777 yards. So a lot of discipline issues early on. Now both teams are really playing well. You can look at the Saints offense right now in 18 versus 23, giving up the total offense 312 yards a game, which is 23. They're rushing at 93.4, which is almost dead last in the NFL. You look at the passing attack is 218.5 is 17th ranked. Total defense is in terms of yards 305.5. Rushing at 125 a game, 23. The Saints have improved there over the last 7-8 games. The passing defense is still a top 5 unit in the NFL, only allowing less than 181 yards a game. And it's just one of those things. Just like the Saints, the Falcons have also had a situation where they've improved over the last 3 to 4 games. Falcons are on a 3-game winning streak. The Saints are on a 4-game winning streak. The Saints saying, let me get my hit back, because when they face off against this team coming up, on Sunday, that we're going to be seeing about the business of, hey, man, listen, we got to handle up. We got to punch this team down. The Falcons is a team that we lost to the first time around. And, of course, the Falcons are looking to finish the season by trying to sweep the Saints. They're trying to go 8-9 on the season and 4-4 at home if they can do it, which they won't. And the Saints going to finish at 7-10. So the Falcons will finish at 7-10, my estimation. So anyway, as we look into it, let's get right into the breakdown here. And then, of course, after that, I'll give my keys to victory for this matchup. You can see right here the matchup indicator, giving the Falcons 53.5% versus the Saints 46.1%, but yet the line is +3 for the black and gold. We know Michael Penix is done for the year. He's on IR. Tyler Shuck is firing up and doing a wonderful job here. 198 out of 292 for 9 touchdowns, 5 picks. A 67% completion percentage for Tyler Shuck. Actually 68%, on what he's doing. He's just phenomenal, man. And handling up, his rating is 92.1. So people saying one of the main reasons the Saints is getting success is high play at the quarterback position. You would be right, sir and ma'am. And also another really brilliant thing is the fact that for the last several weeks, we hadn't had an opportunity to see AK-41. He's been out for a while. He only played in 11 games so far in this season. He as of, not too long ago, he did not participate in Wednesday's practice being today, but he didn't participate in practice. But the reality is he's listed as questionable, which I think that the Saints they didn't IR Kamara because they felt like he might be able to actually have an opportunity to contribute. And this could be the case. This is the first time in a while that we've seen him have any destination outside of out. So AK-41 hadn't played in a while. He hadn't played, like I said, and he hadn't played in a while. Elvin hadn't played in a while. The last time Elvin played was I think it was against the Falcons. Matter of fact, it was back on 11, the 23rd of November, the 24-10 loss. He had 3 carries for 11 yards. And that's the last time he played was against the Falcons. And now he'll have an opportunity to play against the Falcons. Yeah, I do believe that unless something changed, that AK-41 will get an opportunity to come back to help the Saints finish strong at the end of the year, which would be really cool, by the way. Chris Olave doing his thing, 100 catches, 9 touchdowns, over 1,100 yards. Phenomenal. This is an all-star Pro Bowl season for Chris Olave. It's a contract year for Chris Olave. He does have that extra year attached to him as $15 million for the Saints. The Saints are looking to renegotiate. They've been renegotiating with him. We'll see how that looks. Cam Jordan, 9.5 sacks, man, on a season at 36 years of age in the final year of his contract. And DeMario, more tackles than he ever had in his career, 137. So phenomenal from the veterans stepping up toward the back end of the season to kind of do some positive stuff. Michael Penix is out, so we do realize Kirk Cousins is in for the game. We'll go over all the numbers and all this kind of stuff as we keep it moving. Bijan Robinson over 1,400 yards. He's doing a phenomenal job doing what he does. You see Pitts is having a stellar year, 82 catches, 5 touchdowns, and 870 yards. So he's having a really phenomenal year. He's been catching a lot of hell lately, people criticizing him, but he's having a solid campaign this year. And Brandon Dorlus, one of the young players who was drafted last year, 8.5 sacks. He is listed as questionable. I think there was a report indicating by today, if I'm not mistaken, by Raheem Morris, that this guy is going to be ruled out for the Saints game. He's not going to be able to play in the game because of the knee. So they'll be missing 8.5 sacks from Dorlus. But the reality is Dorlus is tied for the sack lead for the Falcons with James Pierce Jr., who would be good to go. Jalen Walker, another fantastic young player, has 5.5 sacks, 4.5 for Zach Harrison, who is also out due to injury. So the Falcons missing a few people on the defensive side. And we'll see how that looks moving into this thing. As you can see, former Caden Ellis is their top tackler. So that's some of the stuff. And, of course, look at the injury list. Mason Tipton is questionable, game time decision with a groin issue. Kevin Austin Jr. has really excelled with minutes given them because of Mason Tipton's absence. Cesar Ruiz is listed as questionable for this matchup as well. My thing was, why does Cesar Ruiz listed as questionable or game time decision? He's trying to play again. I say sit him down for the rest of the year, please. Will Sherman is doing a decent job. He's not doing the knockdown, drag out job, but I don't see the difference between Will Sherman and Cesar Ruiz's play. Ruiz might be a little bit better, but both of them get blown by and pushed around. So Zaire Mitchell-Payton is a knee. He's questionable. Elvin is a knee, is an MCL. He's listed as game time or questionable. We'll see. Brian Bresee, I don't think Brian Bresee will play for the rest of the year. He had a knee issue that was questionable. I would consider leaving him out of the game. It's a game that really we just playing for pride, nothing else. And we would really love to have Brian Bresee healthy for the start of next year. You know, why not sit him down? And, of course, like I said, Michael Hughes, the cornerback, he'll be out for this game. Dorlus will be also out for this game, according to what Raheem Morris says. If it changes, we'll let you know. Questionable is Mike Ford and Josh Woods, along with offensive tackle Tyron Wheatley Jr., who's on the IR. This is how it is. The last 4 games, Saints are 4-1 out of the last 5. Should have been 5-1. Chris dropped that touchdown in Miami, but no, don't. You know, it's all good. Saints reeled off 4 straight wins against Tampa, Carolina, the Jets, and Tennessee, and now they're looking to finish strong and even up the series at 1-1 against the Falcons. Now the Falcons have their own winning streak going. They beat the same Tampa Bay Buccaneer team, who's free. Everybody beating Tampa Bay. They're free falling. Arizona, and then they had a really good game where they surprised a lot of people. They surprised a lot of people by beating the Rams on Monday night, 27-24. So they're coming into the game a little on a short week. Will that impact them in the Mercedes-Benz Dome? We'll see how it all looks, man. But they're 3-2 over the last 5. Saints are 4-1. Both teams on winning streaks. Saints 4, the Falcons with 3. It'll decide on, it'll be coming down to who can get it done. Who can get it done and who can get it done indeed. So it's going to be interesting, man. A shuck up against Kirk Cousins. All right, so let's keep it moving and grooving, man, as we kind of move into this thing. Let's get familiar with the Atlanta Falcons people, as you can see right here, and get involved in here. This is the offense right here. Michael Penix Jr., like I said, is mixed. It's been out for a while, and Kirk Cousins has played in 9 games. So him and Penix have played in the same amount of games, almost splitting the season here basically. And Kirk Cousins has been actually playing pretty decent football for the Falcons. I mean, he's been playing pretty decently over the last 3 weeks. That helped contributed to them being well. He's not turning the football over much, and they are able to run the football. So they're doing a really good job there, following behind Bijan Robinson, Tyler Algieri. And of course, Kirk Cousins has Pitts, who's making some catches, and London is also a guy that we have to watch out for. Drake London, I think he's out with an injury. We'll look at the report. But outside of that, man, a lot of weapons for Kirk Cousins. It seems like a light is going on with his guidance and leadership, keeping them balanced. And this will be interesting to see what happens with the black and gold getting to Cousins. He's a statue back there at 37 years old. We got to get him and bring him down. 1541 is what he's throwing. That's 32nd in the NFL. 9 touchdowns is 29th. He has 4 interceptions, touchdowns 9-4, 52.2, and he's been completing right against New Orleans, right? The last game he played against the Saints, he did throw a couple of touchdowns, almost 200 yards passing. But if you look at his statistics over the last 5 contests, he's thrown for over almost 1,100 yards, 7 touchdowns against just 3 interceptions. His rating is 86.4, and he's been completing over 61% of his passes. So he's been doing a pretty respectable job passing the ball. He is I ain't gonna say he's number 1 to stop because he's a veteran quarterback and he done seen it all before. But what the Atlanta Falcons offense drives by is Bijan Robinson, right? And we'll have the keys of victory after we look at this. Bijan, 272 carries right now for 1445. He has 7 rushing touchdowns, 4th in the NFL in rushing yards for this phenomenal running back, 7 touchdowns, and he's averaging 5.3 yards per rush, which is 2 rushes first down for Bijan Robinson. Everything flows through Bijan Robinson. He is the bell cow of this offense. It's all predicated based on him. Tyler Algieri is also another special running back that they use. We all very familiar with him. He'll be a free agent this year as well at 25 years old. We'll see if they bring him back, but it'd be cool if the Saints signed Tyler Algieri. He's at 25. He's been a guy that I got a lot of respect for. Almost 500 yards rushing in a complimentary role to Bijan Robinson. He still has 8 touchdowns, which is tied for 12th in the NFL, and he averaging almost 4 yards a carry. He's a back that can catch it out the backfield. He blocks. He would be a solid, wonderful pickup for the Saints if that. But like I said, we'll see moving forward, right? But outside of that, man, not much to talk about here from the running attack between those two real north-south thumpers. And then, of course, you look at the receiving game right now. It's Kyle Pitts Sr. He has 82 catches off 109 targets through 16 games, 870 yards. He's averaging almost 11 yards per catch. And he's having a phenomenal year for the Atlanta Falcons, really helping be the security blanket for either quarterback, averaging over 10 yards a catch is phenomenal. It's a first down every time he catches the ball pretty much with those 82 grabs, which is 10th in the NFL. And he has 5 receiving touchdowns for the team. And if you look at his numbers, if I can bring up his statistics, these are solid numbers for Bijan Robinson. These are record numbers for him in his 5th year with Atlanta through this. He is, he's broken through. He had 68 in this rookie campaign. He has 82 now. He's not there in terms of his receiving yards, but he's caught more touchdowns than he ever did since last year in 2024. So these are record numbers for Kyle Pitts in a contract year for the Falcons. So you got to watch out for Kyle Pitts playing really well football for the Falcons. Also, as Drake London to make mention of, he's limited. According to reports, all indications that Drake London should be playing in this game. He was the guy catching 64 catches for 841, 6 touchdowns, and 13.1. He's the guy that goes along with Kyle Pitts. These are really phenomenal players that drive the offense. It's going to be interesting. So it's Darnell Mooney's another one of the speed weapons out of Tulane. Shout out to him. 29 catches, 423. But look at that average per catch, 14.6. Is ridiculous because he's the speed demon for the group. He's shy. He's very sneaky in his route running and has very good speed to take it to the next level. And he isn't the top guy in terms of yards per catch, because that will go to Casey Washington, the wide receiver. But in terms of him and what he's doing, because really Washington only had 14 targets, only 6 catches, but Darnell Mooney it's a serious deal. He's a stretcher. He's the one, the guy that lulls you to sleep. The slide guy takes the top off the defense. You got to be very mindful at all times where Darnell Mooney is. Then on the defensive side, we talked about Brandon Dorless, who is, I think he's going to be out for this game. James Pierce, another phenomenal player right there for the team. And we talked about Pierce from Tennessee last year. We knew he was going to be something. For him, 8.5 sacks, tied for the lead with Brandon Dorless. Jelani Walker, who was another one of their top picks for the team right now with 5.5 sacks. for them as well. And that's how it go in terms of their sackers. In total tackles, you look at from that side of the thing, from the pine right here is Caden Ellis is the top guy, followed by Jesse Bates. Bates has 3 interceptions. He's second behind Xavier Watts, who's also in the top 3. So Watts leads the teams in picks. In terms of 5 of them, he's a phenomenal player in his own right. He has 89 total tackles. This is a phenomenal class we talked about that is helping the defense, whereas James Pierce, Jr., Xavier Watts, Jalon Walker, those guys, even Dorless from the previous draft class, these are guys that are really impactful and that makes a bright future for Atlanta on defense, right? So these are some of the players. So the assistant, Caden Ellis, Jesse Bates, Xavier Watts, Devon Dablo, the linebacker, and A.J. Terrell, those are the top tacklers right there. Like I said, Xavier Watts and Bates are 1 and 2 in picks. The next guy will be D. Elford. And then, of course, you look at the kick return or the side of it right now. You see a couple of those guys there. But what's interesting about this is we approach this game knowing that this is a talent. Both teams are playing really well. We're going to be in their building, which means it's going to be loud. It's going to be boisterous. It's a hate week, which means we got to be able to take care of business and slap the Falcons down in their building and quiet them up. That means we have to start fast. We can't allow the referees to be a part of the game. Unlike the Tennessee Titan game, we started slow and we didn't pick up offensively into the second half, where we scored a number of touchdowns to kind of get to take the door off the game and possess it. In this game, I would like for us, since we're being in Falcon territory, to start fast to take the crowd out of it. So that's a part of it. We'll get to the keys of victory momentarily. But Kirk Cousins, man, like we're showing you right here, the depth chart here. At the quarterback, Bijan Robinson, Drake London is questionable, but should be good to go. Darnell Mooney, and they have David Stills here as well. Kyle Pitts is having a stellar year. And, of course, Jake Matthews, Bergeron, Newsel, Lickstrom, and Elijah Wilkinson are the offensive line for this team. And like I say, if you look at them, and they've really – and this is the last 5 games, fam. Pay attention to this statistic, right? Over the last 5 games, look how the Atlanta Falcons offensive line have kept Kirk Cousins from being sacked, right? Look at this. He's been sacked twice in the Jets game, which was a loss, right? His QBR was 32.8. He still threw 1 touchdown in the game and had 234 yards. He was sacked twice in the game. The next game, he had a sack there. They got blown out by Seattle. It's just a better team. And then, of course, you can see they have not allowed him to be hit that much. So over the last 5 games, right, the Falcons have kept him upright. He's had 5 times he's been sacked in 5 games. So it's like a sack a game, right? So for the most of it, they've kept him upright. And you can see by doing that, he had pretty decent affairs in yardages here. But anyway, you can see the yardage kind of teetering off too, from 373 to 197 to 126. So the thing is, like, getting to Kirk Cousins and, knocking him down. He can't move that well. He can slide around and do things like that, but the Saints really got to get to him. So that's one of the things. Like I said, the offensive line has been doing a real decent job of keeping them upright to make plays. And of course, on the defensive side of the ball, we talked about David Onyemata still having a factor in there. You see guys like Leonard Floyd, even though he's not one of the top guys, that he's still a force. Devon Dablo was another player that had a lot of tackles in the previous game. Caden Ellen leads the team in tackles. Jalon Walker has really stepped up. James Pierce Jr. has been used really well in that rotation. And then in the secondary, the safeties are solid with Jesse Bates and Xavier Watts. Like I said, they combined together for 8 interceptions between both of them. So you got to respect the game with the safeties. We got to watch out for that. Mike Hughes will be out for the game, so Kobe Bryant more than likely be the guy that step in with D. Alford at the nickel position. So we'll watch out for that. Zane Gonzalez and Bradley Pinion will be the place kicker and punter for the team, and we just have to pay attention to that. So like I said, they've been playing very decent football over the last 3 games. Kirk Cousins not turning the football over. That's respectable. And we just have to pay attention to that. And the name of the game for the Saints is ultimately to galvanize and get pressure as much as we can conjure up on the Atlanta Falcons to make us a rough day, right? That's what we need to concentrate on. Let's hit this up, right? These are the team statistics for our black and gold squad. Tyler Shuck, 10 games played, right? Played in 10 games. Started 8, but he has played in 10 games, but started 8 games. Or is it, I think it was over the last 8 games. He's been really impressive. But 198 for 292 for 67, almost 68% completion rating is ridiculous. Almost 68% completion rating for a rookie quarterback. The thing that's really interesting about Tyler Shuck is that he's not a like rookie. The guy's like 26 years old. So he's a very mature football player. 7 years worth of college, a lot of mental work he's been doing on the game. Lou Riddick talked about his relationship with the Brahms at Louisville, which was a great point. The Brahms do a really good job in dealing with the quarterbacks up there. They got Tyler Shuck prepared. That was a caveat that, I missed on, but Louis Riddick, he hit that. I did a little research behind that and seen what he was talking about. But Tyler Shuck at 26 years old, 5-3 as the starting quarterback, all kind of records he's shattered as a rookie quarterback, and another record that he can get if he has a blowout game against the Falcons, which I think he will have, which he'll out of all the records that we've seen happen for New Orleans Saints, we've never had a rookie quarterback to win Rookie of the Year for us. Never happened. Tyler Shuck could really do that. If he has a knockdown, drag out, bomb out game against the Atlanta Falcons, I think he'll achieve that. I think he will achieve that. So can we expect a 400-yard passing performance against the Falcons? With those safeties, with Bates and Watts back there, we're going to see what the Saints have dialed up, but I guarantee you that Kellen Moore going into this game saying, Tyler, we're going to get you that offensive Rookie of the Year trophy. We're going to get it for you. That's pretty cool. But like I said, he's a big part of what's going to happen here for our team too. Hit that like button, fam, as we get going in this thing. Hit that like button, man, and the share button. If you're listening on X, hit that retweet, and then retweet the show again. Help us out over there. All right, anyway, keeping it moving. Alvin Kamara is the top rushing 471 for the Saints right now. AK-41 is sitting up and listed as questionable, but he didn't to participate in Wednesday's practice, but all indications is the reason why Alvin Kamara wasn't shelved like Devon Valley was or any of these guys because they still think that Alvin could help the Saints. And the last, like I just mentioned, where he got hurt, this is a time around where Alvin Kamara would be a big addition, a big help for the Saints team that is down to his 4th string running back. AK-41 would definitely be a help there. And I think he plays in this game barring unforeseen setback. I think Elvin would love to be in this matchup to even it up against the Falcons, right? So he'll be there. But if not, then you'll see the likes of Audric Estime, who had a phenomenal game last week, doing his thing. And as you see, Audric Estime playing so well, man, you can see during so far, he's averaging 5.4 yards a carry. He broke several runs in the game, finding cracks and crevices, the run behind, and he had a home run hit to help the Saints explode. So to have AK-41, Audric Estime, they'll have Taysom Hill with Evan Hall there. So the Saints will use those guys to get through running against the Falcons. The receiving threats, you see Chris Olave with 100 catches on the season. That's his blazing numbers out. He's breaking through. Chris Olave have phenomenal numbers. These are career-defining numbers for Chris Olave in a contract year. As you could tell, you can look at his statistics. The greatest year he's had was the second year in 2023 with 87 catches. He's blown by that. He got 100. More targets than he's ever had. He's going to play his 17 game. That's more games than he ever played. He's at 1163, which blows past his 23 total, right? He has more touchdowns than he ever had. So it's a big year for for Chris Olave. He's questionable with, I think he has a back issue, but he will play in this game, man. He wouldn't miss it for the world. So shout out to Chris Olave averaging, man, 11.6 yards per catch. 100 catches, that's 6th in the NFL. 1163 on the catches, that's 7th. So is the touchdowns. He's big time. Chris Olave could bear, if with a monster game, another 10 catch game, man. Who knows where to put him inside the top 3. So this is a huge year for Chris Olave, numbers and, catch wise as well as money wise. He's going to get his paper, you best believe. Also, Juwan Johnson has been big too. Juwan Johnson woke up. He's had a phenomenal month worth of football, catching everything, blocking better. The light is going on. He himself, and we've been getting on Juwan Johnson because we knew he can do this type of stuff. He got the contract. Something went on where he says, I figured it out now. So he has more catches than he's ever had. 74 catches. This is elite. He'll have 80 catches this year, and that is what you're supposed to do. Over 800 yards and catches. He's averaging 11.2 yards per catch, which is a very great total. Now he does have just 3 touchdowns, and several years ago, back in 2022, he had 7 touchdowns. This year he dropped a couple of them, if I'm not mistaken, but it's all good. 3 touchdowns for him. Having a phenomenal knockdown drag out year for Juwan Johnson. Him and Chris Olave together is really driving the offense with all the injuries, right? So that's a few things to kind of talk about that. Demario Davis on pace, 137 total tackles for Demario Davis. That is a record in terms of what he's did as a 36-year-old football player. If you look at his numbers, he's never had that. The biggest year he ever had was 135. He did with 2017 with the Jets. Actually, last year he had 136. He had 136 where he topped that 2017 year. He had 136 tackles last year. And this year he has 137 total tackles right now, which means when he'll have another 5 or 6 tackles at least in this game, he'll have over 140, which is the most that he's ever had in his long career. So Demario Davis is having a productive year too for the New Orleans Saints moving forward. So he'll be available for this game again. It'd be cool to see him play there. Pete Werner also is there. You see Pete Werner is the second tackle, tied with Alante Taylor. Jonas Sanker is there. Kool-Aid McKinstry has 73. Justin Reed, 71. And Danny Stutzman, which is a co-starter, I call him, with Pete Werner, has 50 tackles total on the season. Now we talk about the sack game for the Saints, 9.5 for Cam Jordan, 8.5 from Chase Young. Where you at, KT? Carl Granderson, 4.5. A lot of people pick Carl Granderson to be that guy to lead the team in sacks this year. Remember I did that poll? Well, guess what? It is Cam Jordan with 9.5. He'll get another sack in this game against Kirk Cousins. Saints going to have at least 2 or 3 sacks in this game. And Chase Young played in 11 games, fam. In just 11 games. He missed a great deal of games. He missed a month worth of football. And then imagine what his totals could have been if he played that original month. He would be double digits, man. 8.5 sacks right now in just 11 games. It's crazy work. And he still might get one against the Falcons. He probably can get, depending on how he ball. And he's getting that touchdown and everything. Chase Young is balling out for the Saints defense right now and doing some positive stuff. And of course, the interception leader for the Saints is Kool-Aid McKinstry. He has 3 picks on the season. Sanker and Alante tied second place with 2. And of course, we all know about our fantastic young kicker on the scene for us as well as we kind of get into the I'm sorry, fam. As we get into the depth chart, we take a look at the depth chart, kind of hash this thing out. Tyler Shuck, Chris Olave is there. Kevin Austin Jr. and questionable is Mason Tipton. If Tipton can't go, it'd probably be Pettis. Shuck's going to lead the way, but you'll see AK-41. I believe he'll play. Aldrick Estime, Evan Hall, and Taysom Hill will have roles in the running attack as usual. Juwan Johnson is there. Jack Stahl got rolled up on in the last game. He's out for the rest of the season. We got that report, so you'll see a lot of Maliki Mutavo. Remember, Mutavo was lined up like a fullback. He was making blocks. We covered it on the film for the TSC film, and Mutavo did a real solid job here. And we got somebody. It took a while for us to get around to him, but in the last couple of games, you see Mutavo blocking people. He's getting better, and he's a wonderful catcher of the ball. We've seen him catch the ball with his hands. He's 6'8". He's a red zone force as well. So as we get into the red zone, it'll be interesting to see how the Saints will look to him to help out there, as we're not really dealing with those red zone woes like we were doing early on in the season, that we picked up a rhythm. The offensive line, Calvin Banks Jr. is there. Dylan Reduns is another guy you think about, hey, man, do we do Dylan Reduns, give him another contract or whatnot? because remember, he was a guy that was looked at to be like the sixth offensive lineman. I think we could probably do a little bit better than Dylan Redounce. Luke Fortner at center, he deserves a contract. Cesar Ruiz looking to be back in this game with Tali Fuaga. If he can't go, then we'll see Will Sherman, who has been doing an okay job. Will Sherman has done an all right job instead of Cesar Ruiz, but all indications is looking like Cesar Ruiz is going to be back for the final game of the season. And, of course, you look at the defense cam, Devine Gacho. Nate Shepard has been lights out in the run. He's really improved and has been a phenomenal 3 sacks on the season for Nate Shepard, but he's really been a force internally. In my opinion, he's really outplayed Devine Gacho, man, to be honest with you. Devine Gacho has, in my opinion, Nate Shepard really outplayed him, man. This season, but Brian Bressee's out, so we'll see Carl Granderson. We'll see Jonah Williams, who got a sack in the game as well. He has 3 sacks on the year. Jonah Williams is another guy you think about bringing back for that Staley defense. He knows that defense inside and out. John Ridgway was another guy that was stepping in there and handling the business, seeing big John Ridgway in there making stuff happen for them. DeMario Pete Werner, Chase Young, who's, like I said, balling out 8.5 sacks on the season. Just imagine what he would look like if he started the full season. Ball would have double-digit sacks right now. And then you see the rest of them. We talk about Kool-Aid McKinstry, Alante Taylor, Quincy Riley's been getting more burn. Yidam's been coming off the bench, but you see Quincy Riley has been getting a lot of burn from that corner position there. So our young guys is contributing too. Jonas Sanker has been a real excellent player for us through the year, doing wonderful things for the Saints covering, and he's going to be a stud moving forward with Justin Reed. And, of course, Charlie Smith, our kicker, we paid just under $3 million for to make him our kicker, sitting on the practice squad doing his thing. And then, of course, you look at the place kicker in Kai Kroger, who's kind of tailed off in his punting recently, and we might have to kind of see if we can find better punting coming up next year or whatever, or at least challenge him in that position. So anyway, that's some of our depth chart as we keep this thing moving and grooving. Now, as you guys know, as we get ready to kind of hit this area of the show where we talk about the keys, the 10 keys to victory for the New Orleans Saints versus the Atlanta Falcons in week number 18. This is the last 10 keys to victory, the season finale, finishing with the Falcons, and this will it take for them to beat them. So continuing, Tyler Shucks, high performance, the rookie, been exciting, right? Hasn't he? Last 2 games with 300 plus yards, career high. He had a 33-yard game, a passer rating of 89 and a 0.5%. He had one at 442.4. The Saints need to maintain that efficient passing. His completing his passes this season at 68%. That's crazy work for a rookie. But like I said, he's a rookie, but not really a rookie because he's 26 years old, seeing the game. The game is slowed down for Tyler Shuck. He's processing it. Kellen Moore's wrapping the playbook around him. And you can see the plays he's running. He's very comfortable with running. He makes really precise throws, and his throws get there lickety split. He got a cannon for an arm. His decision-making ability at times is really picking up, knowing when he see green to take off. He has the athleticism to get there. Plus, he is really good at sliding to avoid taking a hit. Sometimes he holds on to the ball a little too longer, but we can't all be perfect, right? That's the first key is continue Tyler Shuck's high performance. That right there will help you beat this Falcon team. Number 2, from a defensive standpoint, the Saints got to neutralize Bijan Robinson. We got to shut him down. Falcons defense averages over 127 yards per game. If the Saints contain Robinson, I know I can't stop him, but if you can contain him, it can force the Falcons to pass more with Kirk Cousins against a solid Saints secondary that's ranked in the top 5. So this will be a pretty good scene. But we as a secondary have been doing a real good job of holding teams to like 180 yards, a little bit more than 180 yards a game. So that is something that we have to focus on and continue to do. Third key of victory is that we got to protect the QB. right? Saints got to do a good job. The Falcons are tied for second NFL. They have 53 sacks, right? So they second NFL. They get after you. A lot of sacks there for the Falcons. That's the number one thing. So Tyler Shuck can't sit there and hold on to the ball. We got to get the ball out because the Falcons are really good at getting to you on the season. So the Saints have given up about 20 plus sacks in 10 games with Tyler Shuck. The offensive line has to improve there. We did a good job against teams over the last 3 weeks. We got to continue to do that and have an all-out effort to close out the season. We got to throw everything up against the wall. You got to protect Tyler Shuck from the pass rush of the Falcons. Number 4, you got to limit the explosive plays that the Falcons are going to try to come with. I talked about Darnell Mooney. You should see Drake London back there, Kyle Pitts. They'll have their full cupboard in terms of the skill players. To Kirk Cousins, his big tight end, his big wide receiver, and his speedy Darnell Mooney. They'll have these guys here. We got to monitor these guys and make sure they keep them under control. So we have to limit that. Got to limit that big play. Falcons have several big plays that happened over this winning streak. Saints have allowed 60-plus yards passes 8 times this year, which is tied for the most in the league. The secondary must prevent long gains. We got to shut them down. We got to keep in front of them. We can't allow them to have big gains, and we got to rattle up and shake that offensive line up. So key number 5, we got to win the turnover battle. Shuck has been more careful with the ball recently with 0 interceptions the last 3 games, and that's one of the keys while we're winning. We got to maintain this trend. The Falcons defense that forced 15 interceptions is crucial. So they try to get after you. They try to get the picks and all this kind of stuff. We got to protect them, and we got to win that turnover battle. Keep them turnovers down. Keep them miscues down. Number 6, the red zone efficiency. Prior meeting, the Saints were stopped at the goal line multiple times. Y'all remember that? Saints need to convert to scoring opportunities, man. When we get an opportunity to score, we got to do it, especially in the red zone. Shuck has a 133.6 passer rating in the red zone this year. So his numbers are improving there. So the red zone, skeleton monsters, the abominable snowmen with vampire teeth, none of that exists in the red zone no more. The Saints have changed the philosophy on the red zone. When they get there, it's no longer the red zone. It's the green zone, meaning the money zone. That's how you change that dynamic. Number 7, Chris Olave's production. Wide receiver had 60-yard catch in a comeback win. That rapport between Shuck and him need to be capitalize on. We got to keep on hitting that connection and running that and doing what we need to do to keep improving the connection between Chris Olave and Tyler Shuck is undeniable. Not only that, but the connection between Tyler Shuck and Jawan Johnson, the connection between Tyler Shuck and Kevin Austin Jr., these are things you can tell. There's synergy with Chris Olave. There's connection with Chris Olave. There's a synergy and a connection with Kevin Banks Jr. As soon as he was implemented into the wide receiver core and given a lot more reps, you've seen him gain. You can see the pass toward the left corner of the end zone from Tyler Shuck to Kevin Banks Jr. in last week's matchup there against the Titans, where he caught his first touchdown of his young NFL career. So the connection seemed to be growing between all of those players, and that needs to be explored and continued, at least for another week. Number 8, key to victory. Y'all hit that like button, man, as we go on. Shout out to y'all in the chat. I see y'all, man. I'm just trying to get through this. I'm not trying to keep y'all for a very long show. It is, after all, New Year's Eve. So shout out to you guys. So effective special teams in close games, right? We get it. The Saints, ESPN already gave the Saints a 48.4% chance of winning. We already know that. We covered that. So with field goal position and reliable kicking, we should be all right. You know, we know anytime you get on the other side of the 50-yard line, Charlie Smith is a guy that's a threat, right? He has a big leg, hit 2 multiple 50-yard field goals against the Titans last week, had 10 points to add on top of what we had in the game. He missed one for 43 or something like that, but still in all, Charlie Smith is a young kicker with a cannon for a leg. We got a young kicker with a cannon for a leg and a young quarterback with a cannon for an arm. So we got some very special players here. And he has to keep kicking like he been kicking, man, and we should be all right. Number 9, key, maintain defensive intensity. Saints defense allowed an average of just over 18 points per game since week 15, right? Games 15, 16, and 17. That's far below the average of that 20, almost 23 points per game They need to keep up the strong defensive play. So since week 15, you've seen the production drop where the Saints are keeping people under 19 points a contest as an average over those several games. So we just got to keep doing that. All right, number 10 and final key to victory for the New Orleans Saints over the Falcons is you got to match the Falcons' motivation. Falcons on a 3-game winning streak, Saints on a 4-game winning streak. Falcons want to close out the season with a win with their building. The Saints want to do the same. Saints have to go into Atlanta, match that intensity. The thing is keeping the miscues down, the turnovers down, going in there and hitting them early and just establishing that and getting the crowd down, taking possession of the field and doing what we do. I think in the prediction, I think I'm going to give it to the Saints. Saints are going to win this matchup against the Falcons. They have motivation to win it, being that they're not going to allow themselves to be swept by the Atlanta Falcons, who won in the previous game. The Saints were basically sleepwalking in that game. But this game, this team is playing how they're playing over the last 8 games, especially the last 4 games. They found an identity. They found how to play. They're adding, even though we had struggled with the running attack, Audric Estime, the 4th-string running back, came alive to help us. Alvin Kamara could be involved in this game to help out with the running attack, along with Taysom and others. And then you see something positive going on. We should get Mason Tipton back for a speed weapon. So you'll see that Tyler Shuck should have access to a vertical passing game to get up and down the field against the Falcons, man. We'll have a running attack to kind of add mix in there, plus Shuck's scrambling ability, not turning the ball over and being on guard with that crowd. We have to be able to make sure we have our communication strong so we don't hit false starts and all that kind of stuff, because they're going to be loud cheering in the Falcons building. So we got to go in and make sure that regardless of what happens, that we know what we need to do in a loud environment, which is Kellen Moore's working on that. And we got to make sure that this is that we close out with a victory, get our 5th straight win, and finish the season 7-10 heading into the offseason. That's all we can do at this point, is to play with that reckless abandon, leave it all on the field. And I think this will be one of the games where Kellen Moore will be throwing it. I think Kellen Moore is going to have a vertical game where he's going to be getting Tyler Shuck to throw that damn ball. It won't be no conservative affair. It's going to be one where he's trying to get him that rookie of the year. If he has a 3+ 100, another 300 game, 400, he get 403 touchdowns or something like that against the Falcons and blow the top off the Mercedes-Benz Stadium. I think that will earn Tyler Shuck an opportunity to get that rookie of the year as a quarterback. That's the first time this happened. I think Kellen Moore is dialed into that, because that will be a major statement for people that kind of felt like, hey, man, I think you shouldn't draft that quarterback, get somebody else. And he's like, well, I told you what I'm going to do with this guy. And for him to call a game which Tyler Shuck blows out the Falcons, has 400 yards passing, multiple touchdowns in the game, will cement him for Rookie of the Year honor. They look at the quarterback, they love the diva position, and that would be special, because that will basically, galvanize a lot of the naysayers up Tyler Shuck and say, hey, man, listen, nobody never done that before. So that'll put him in rarefied air. He already broke several records that put him in the same talking lanes as Archie Manning and Drew Brees, who are current Saints legends. But to get the Rookie of the Year, that's something that we've never seen happen. So we'll see how it all goes. But my call is the Saints over the Falcons. I don't think it'll be a blowout. I hope it would be, but I think it'll be a close game. But at the same time, it'll be a real interesting affair, because both teams are playing really well. They're both on current winning streaks, and they're playing for basically pride. The Saints are not going to get swept. They want to finish on a high note, and I think that'll be enough for them to get the damn job done. Hit the like button. Come on. Anyway, with that being said, shout out to you guys. Appreciate y'all being in this live. I will return on Friday. I will be back on Friday to talk about all the haps and what's going on with the Saints. Pelican post-game report is tonight. Pels match up against the Chi-Town Bulls on New Year's Eve. Can the Pelicans end 2026 with a victory? We also have new content that's on a Tough Tiger Talk is tomorrow. We'll be previewing the transfer portal for the LSU Tigers. Go Tigers. And also we'll have more boxing talks. Anthony Joshua's current situation, got in a wreck in Nigeria. His best friend and trainer were killed in the truck. He got out of there with minor scrapes. Yeah, that's very interesting. We'll cover all that. Plus on our Patreon, On Cue with Big Q News Show, we're talking about Stephon Diggs situation that occurred, as well as Keefe D involved in the Tupac murder. We covered all that on the latest episode of Patreon's On Cue with Big Q. That's only for our Patreon people. Y'all check that out. All right. If you're interested, join Patreon at patreon.com/the Pro Media Network. Shout out to FanDuel, man. Y'all get y'all bets in on FanDuel and check out all the latest stuff right there and make some money off of these, kicking the Falcons' teeth in, man. How about that? So with that being said, man, I'm going to get on up out of here, man. I appreciate y'all. Have a happy new year. Get them resolutions in there and stay on code at all times with your plans of improving and getting better. Stay on code. We're going to do this thing. Much love, peace, and who dat?
Yeah. Boogie like Benson, I'm a who dat. I'm a who dat. Long as I'm living, I'm a who dat. Lose or winning, I'm a who dat. Sports coma, yeah, this is where we do that. Where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that. Boogie like Benson, I'm a who dat. I'm a who dat. Sports coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that. Welcome. Somebody please better help. Running this thing like Elf. I thank God every day I'm not a Felp. Go to YouTube Live with Big Q and the guys. If you ain't ride or die, the bandwagon get flipped. Been marching in, that was way for the ring. I was yelling out your shame for the championship. Bucking on town, duck down. Falcons, pluck, get shut down. Panthers ain't much touchdown. The vision really belong to us now. So much hate on the Saints, you could probably tell. Ever since Bounty Gate hit the NFL, when things seem fishy and you probably smell the crooked referees on Roger Goodell. Yeah, running like this and I'm a who dat. Every day I'm living, I'm a who dat. Lose or winning, I'm a who dat. It's the sports coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that. Boogie like this and I'm a who dat. It's the sports coma, this is where we do that.
You're listening to the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys on the PRO Media Network.
Hey, New Orleans! Whether you're catching up on Saints news at Jackson Square, checking Pelicans scores in the Garden District, or staying updated on LSU while grabbing coffee in the French Quarter, there's one place that keeps you connected to everything that matters in our city. From Bourbon Street to the Superdome, from Preservation Hall to the Riverfront, New Orleanians are staying in the know with the whotdatdaily.com. Your daily source for Saints, Pelicans, LSU, and all the sports, music, and culture that makes our city special. At work downtown, at a game in the Dome, or just relaxing by the Mississippi, wherever life takes you in the Big Easy, you can stay connected. Because when you're from New Orleans, you don't just live here. You stay in the NO. That's stay in the know. Visit the WhoDatDaily.com and never miss what matters most to Who Dat Nation.
Welcome to the Pro Shop, where we create authentic NOLA-inspired clothing for men, women, and children. From Saints jerseys to Pelicans gear, everything's crafted right here in New Orleans. Whether you're shopping the Pro Shop, the Pel Shop, or the Pro Shop Kids, we've got your whole family covered with genuine merchandise that represents our city's spirit. Check for links in the description section below.